What's up, people? We're here with Bjorn Anderson, and we're going to do the intro music for you all to get excited and get down for this conversation.
Anything you show and I don't see it. Anything you speak and I don't hear it. Anything you let me to dick.
What's going on, my friend? Without further ado, my man, how are we doing? The business owner, the creative director, the marketing agency in San Diego. How's life going? How are you doing? Come and help the people out with your special knowledge. Can we get a little hell yeah?
Hell yeah. It's sunny.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So how's everything going? And I know you're doing some creative projects. What are you working on at the moment?
Well, we're working on a few web design projects, and we work with a lot of local businesses, mostly, and entrepreneurs. So yeah, I mean, we have a good handful of some current clients, new ones coming through that is just they're all unique in their own way, and that keeps the really the creative side to it, because we're always, it's always different. with us. We have to learn constantly people's businesses, since they are all different in their way.
That's amazing. So, you're feeding off the San Francisco work and the startup world down to the marketing agencies in LA, and then it's down to San Diego where it's
San Diego is growing like crazy. Downtown is just so many new things being built down there. It's quite a hub to have your office in. We're right smack in the middle of it all, and it's becoming a big city that's just going to attract more and more. Obviously, people wanting to live here, but also tourism. So that's always good.
That's it, my friend. That's it, my friend. Yeah, I got a special place in San Diego. Let's talk about your kind of journey into where you're at now, because I remember back in the day we hung out, have a great old time. You had the promotion company, you're into the nightclub industries, and now you're sort of evolving into this person who's making a great impact on the world. How has that worked? Can you give us a little maybe snippet of your life?
Yeah, I was a club promoter for a long time and met a lot of great people, had a ton of fun, but at some point it can wear you out, just like anything you overdo. And I really was at that time also working in mortgages, and it was pretty much not really in an industry that I was new. It was my passion necessarily, and so the whole nightclub thing was kind of just an escape in a way. But it was, I learned a lot because we had a business to run in it. But from there, after I got out of all of that, I went into more marketing and website design stuff, and from there started my own out of my house, and built it slowly, organically from there. And now we have an office downtown, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. So there comes a point when you start to have your own business that creates other thinking, start questioning life, not questioning life necessarily, but you start wanting to explore more and understand things a little bit more deeper, not just on a surface level, and not just, be a victim, but really take control. And so that just takes, solitude, and takes personal, reflection and observing more and studying more. You got to learn. You got to expand that consciousness. Not if you're just trying to, try to have a positive outlook. You're not expanding that consciousness. You're just not gaining any type of knowledge and understanding. So I just dug right in. I jumped in all the way, and it's a big rabbit hole, but in the end, it becomes an enlightening, illuminating experience. So all that is obviously worth it.
Absolutely. So you had your own Neo moment. You had your own where the officers were coming into your office, and you sort of felt the pressure of life and the grind and the continuation. They call it the samsara, the cyclical effect of life. And somehow or another, you punched through that and pushed through it to take the next bold move and sort of empower yourself through knowledge and education. And I've seen your growth, and it's like two different people, and then it's an expanding person, but you still kept the best part of your true self. So what are some of the strategies that you found to know yourself?
Well, most people go on a similar path as I did. You start the conspiracy theories. You just become a conspiracy theorist. You start seeing a lot of the dark side of our world, just overall. I mean, it's not very pretty. And so when you go right into that, it starts awakening you, wanting to understand it, and you start to kind of, it creates a fear in you that is projected onto others as, you're this crazy conspiracy theorist, and you're being arrogant, and it just creates this like it's not a good beginning, but I got through it by just really getting more spiritually connected, getting into philosophy, just starting to kind of dig in more in the science world, and starting to gain a lot of influential people that have, whether I read their books and listened to the lectures. It just piles up, and you just start to go down that path. But I would say, I just started when I was waking up every day and having to build a business. I had time to think, and I just took a lot of that thinking and expanding my knowledge and just the basics. So the Matrix movie is always a great example, probably the most commonly used example of relating to an awakening of the reality of our world. And so yeah, I'm breaking out of it, but still, it's by no means a right away process, or it doesn't just happen overnight. You become this, you understand it all, and then you just come out of it as this enlightened being. It's a lifelong journey. That's to become wise. It's not something you just all of a sudden become wise. It's a long life journey, just of wanting to know and seeking knowledge. So but after that, you go through that fear stage, I always call it, and from there, a lot of people stay in that stage. And for me, it was getting into these other, starting to understand religion more. Alan Watts would be really the springboard to my philosophy path. And so from there, I just got really into it. And from there, you start getting into more of the esoteric type of teachings, the occult studies, and the metaphysical. It's just kind of this blossoming of wanting to learn all these things. And so that's for me how the whole awakening process worked. And so and that's why it takes a personal it's something personally people have to take on it. You can't go to a church, you can't go to another guy that's going to stand in front of you and get you pumped up, and it takes actual individual work. And that's where people kind of fall short. They don't want to put in the time. They got their job. They got their distractions they enjoy, whether it's that TV show or doing this with friends. It does take time, personal time. And for instance, my friends would give me crap for kind of staying to myself a lot of this time, because you have to kind of be with yourself. And because a lot of the people that are around you, family and friends, aren't going to be on that type of path and have an understanding. You could try to explain it to them in any way, shape or form, but it never really comes out right. And that's why, again, it's something that I'm still working on, that as far as keeping a lot of this, within myself and not really just kind of bringing it up, because it's not something that's they're ready for. So everyone needs to have their own neo awakening, and that is for them to know. And that's why, you can't just throw truth at people. They're not ready for that. And those are the people that are most controlled and the easiest to control. Yes. And that's how the world works. Bottom line, it's either you are controlled or you're not. And the work to not be controlled is too hard for most people.
Well, you came on pretty early. Take me back to that moment when you were, maybe doing your nightclub business, or you were in San Diego or in LA, when you kind of thought that there was more to life, more than the teachers were teaching you, more than the religious structures were teaching you, more that you thought you were going to achieve than just the mainstream. Take me back to that moment when something just clicked.
As far as I think everything clicked is when I wasn't in that pattern of waking up every day, going to a job that I disliked so much that you just carry that energy. It doesn't help me expand in any way. So it was when I had that opportunity, and I was able to wake up every day. It was just that first, month or so, you really start to awake. And so now I had time to think. I was kind of getting into certain podcasts, learning certain things prior to that, but I really got more of a kick in that butt awakening kind of feel when I was on my own.
Yeah.
So
a little solitude, maybe a little meditation. I can kind of remember that time when I first started with not wanting to be unhappy, or not wanting to be in the government work. Like a lot of my friends and family and things of that nature wanted to go right to the CIA, right to the, you name it, military. And I just thought to myself, what is out there? What is this huge universe? What is this planet spinning around? What is my purpose? And always kind of thinking huge, like, let's do a movie. Let's do something big. Let's get out to California. Let's do that. And that was the first stage. And then I picked up a book called, I was doing personal training at the time, and I picked up a book called The Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. And it showed his hero's journey, and he met his guru. And at the time, I was only working out, and I was only pumping iron, and I was only eating the good foods and things like that. And I didn't have the mental awakening. I didn't have the spiritual awakening. So it was like, wow, I started hearing his story through this, where, if you guys don't know about the story, he kind of was a gymnast. He got injured in a motorcycle accident, and then he was gonna go to the Olympics, but since he had that injury, he had to come back and rebuild himself and come back stronger, not just based on using his talent. So he met a guru, a mentor up in the Berkeley area of San Francisco, and he designed his life to just fly. And he had the diet, he had the meditation, he had the silence. He started questioning, he knew himself. He realized his behavior was causing a runoff of just tidal waves of bad karma. And he realized that he needed somebody that he loves in his life. He realized that he was that fortune favors the bold, that the devil's happy when the critics run you off. It's like he knew that he had to do something great in life, but it wasn't sitting behind the desk. So that's great for some people. Someone's got to take out the trash. And maybe that's the way they serve. But he realized he needed to serve and become an instructor. And that sort of just hit me like a ton of bricks falling from the third-story building. And then I started hearing stories like Will Smith, some idols I looked up to. They started talking in a certain way when the internet started getting bigger, and I started watching YouTube videos. And I was just this frantic mind inside. I was always trying to be like everyone else. And when I just gave that up, something vibrant, successful, inspiring, bold, I just declared and manifested that I had a vision. I had more than I needed to become. And, it's just something that, sometimes you get that inner voice to take on the journey. And then after, a lot of people don't answer that call. They just let it go on dial tone. And that's what they were showing in the movie The Matrix. So a lot of people are at that stage now. But then the second stage goes, okay, you've done what you needed to do. And then what? So we're both passing those barriers and we're passing those things. But how important is ideas and creativity in your own life?
Well, we're creative beings. We create this entire reality. So the workforce isn't creative. It's not it takes away that creative intellect and conscious expansion and building. Then taking all that and building something, being ants for someone else's kingdom. In essence, you're not really doing what you're passionate about and what you want to create and manifest. So really finding that those creative outlets are only going to come within when you kind of take that time to think and just start thinking, what do you want? Again, a lot of people need some of these motivational speakers to get them going, but you have to really find that within, and by there's a lot of practices you can do through meditation, and you can start writing, journaling. There's a lot of ways to kind of get this out, but if you're constantly distracting yourself, not putting that time into it, you're not going to find that. And so the whole I think Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey is one of the greatest films that I would recommend anyone watching, to kind of give them a better, one of my favorite just videos that help them kind of think about their journey and how they can start right away. Because you don't need to go to a seminar or read this book or that to get started right away on finding what you want to do and your passion and love for life. So it's start now. There's no time. Time is a complete illusion. And so don't wait for a New Year's resolution. You start now. That's all we have.
Well, I have compassion and empathy for people because they may have been grown up in a modeled reality, and they may have been fed fearful suggestions in life. And they may have grown up in a time where you had to do this, you had to do that. There wasn't internet, there wasn't the books out, there wasn't people talking like there are now. There was a lot of confusion out there. So there's almost, what is your modeled reality? Okay, so there's two types of mindsets. So there's a stagnant mindset and there's the growth mindset. So if you catch yourself on the growth mindset, therefore you will, however, expand based on continuing to learn, continue to talk to people, to keep part of your brain open and ridding what you don't need, and sort of being like water and flowing through the valleys and through the mountains. And a lot of success is like going through the failures, but also like being bold, but then being able to withstand tons of gunshots and avoiding and being with groups of friends that can ally with us, who can offer you skills. They're smarter than you in different ways, and kind of create your own little, like you guys have in San Diego with Charles and the rest of the group. They really help you get through those downtimes and those depressive moments when you're self-judging and controlling your ego. Now, a paradigm shift is something that a lot of times isn't talked about. And what does that sort of mean to you when I say paradigm shift in a metaphysical sense, as in shifting almost everything that you were taught now to be reborn into a new paradigm that you believe?
Well, unfortunately, it takes a collective consciousness to understand, and I mean the word understand that what it is as that collective consciousness, for really to make that shift, because it's either somebody's gonna control that shift for their own purposes, or collectively comes, or we have the light that kind of takes over and collectively is able to, push out the dark. That's a hard one, because it's not you see some of this awakening, but it's so far from really creating any type of impact. I mean, you got a lot of people starting to protest against their governments all across the world. I mean, you got so many crisis after crisis, whether it's a refugee or World War III coming. There's just a lot of more of
Static distraction.
Yeah, to people to even think about that type of shift, and to really create a better world just in general. And so,
right,
because again, it really comes down to people aren't ready for truth. The truth is so far outside of people, just their brain cannot even process it. I don't know how else to describe it.
Right.
Every family member, friend I know, they have this level of wanting to do good and give back and be better, and just that's great. But they're still a part of that unaware, and that's just how it is. So any type of paradigm shift that is happening or is going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping we get an enlightened state.
So let's say like a paradigm shift on money. Let's say a paradigm shift on doing the 9 to 5, or paradigm shift based on travel, or paradigm shift based on location.
Those are all hard to do. A paradigm shift on money alone, and that's the biggest enslavement. The human, that's really the main one that has enslaved the humans. Just give them, hey, the humans are enslaved by money. Yes, that was created to create the vision, to create the to enslave, so that you control a lot easier. So that's all goes back thousands and thousands of years. That's just kind of how it's been, and so the story hasn't changed, and the mythology hasn't changed. All of that, just nothing has changed. We may have had some periods of Renaissance and really periods of time where life seemed great, was good, but I'm not sure. I have no idea what the future holds, but we are seeing change, and there could be an unfortunate, very dark period to come out of it into the light, which I hope not. But right now, we are just letting the people in charge that are running the show just take us into that unfortunate dark hole. So that's not stopping. I don't see that stopping at all. I don't care how many protests are going around the world, or people trying to start a love movement and positivity movement. That's not making change. It's still, the world's still going in the direction it's going. The president is going to be elected, but you're not going to have a choice there either. It's the same thing. It's just it's just different PR faces to give you that illusion. So, I mean, I think the thing is going to come soon. At some point this year, we'll see a major change there because of it's like watching the collapse happen. It's unfold. It's crazy. It's I just read something recently about the Atlantic, all the where the cargo ships go. It's empty. So, and the stocks that you're seeing, the whole down there, and there's just a huge economic wake up that's just going to hit hard. And again, most people just don't know, and that's fine. But that's what it takes to wake people up, at least in that particular paradigm shift. That's the money, that's the economical, type of engine there. So that alone is going to have its own type of change and shift. And then so many other things that are unfolding that is just we're just going to have to watch it. That's my kind of reality show. I mean, most people like the Real Housewives, but pay attention to what's going on in your world. It's far more interesting and crazy than any reality show.
Even with like the Trump movement right now, and even with like all sorts of people waking up and saying we don't want oil anymore, we want electricity with solar.
Yeah, the oil
city and with
the oil prices is a great example. Everyone's excited about lower oil prices, but that is just destroying Russia, and so we're doing this as an economic warfare. And this is kind of also, there's so many different types of war that we're involved in, and the internet too. So you got cyberspace. That's all big. So,
you could see the diversions when you're really looking at it from an awareness perspective. You can see the headlines on Twitter. You can see Zuckerberg changing up things on Facebook. You can see how organizations are trying to lean more towards things. I just saw that movie 13 Hours of Benghazi, and compared to the American Sniper, it's covered almost zero. There's no like publicity, like giving you awareness of what happened in Benghazi and all the stuff that happened at the end of the movie. Shows a scene of at 6 a.m. in the morning when they finally got rescued, and then you see the scene of all the wives of the deceased all praising and everything. It was just like a confused scene of like interpreters didn't know which direction to go to, and it was just kind of like fix your country, fix your country. It was like that type of world. But what I like about the internet, it brings everyone together. We get crowdfunded. We can get things going. We can spread information. We can continue to not be belittled, and we can have great leaders emerge, and we can have paradigm shifts. We can have excellent documentaries with Netflix and Amazon, and we can get powerful books on our phone, so we don't really need a lot of things. Now it's about really
I'm not about books on my phone anymore, by the way. I do all physical books. You got to keep in mind the internet can go like that. A lot of this digital storage and can disappear like that. You have to. So in the book end, I went from Audible. I still list YouTube is my main source for at least lectures if I want to do any kind of audio books. Great, the best source, period. I just stopped with Audible because I was purchasing audio versions of books, and so, but it made me think if that app goes under, that's where the storage of those books are, and that and the physical, especially the stuff I like to study, the physical form is just far more valuable to me. And so that doesn't mean you can't use other sources like YouTube and Audible. But for me personally, I even started a lot of the books I had listened to on Audible. I purchased a whole ton of them. I wanted the physical version.
Absolutely. So, what are your favorite books at the moment? Which ones have kind of made the biggest impact on you recently? Like that you can recommend to the audience, because we're a minority. The people that read maybe 10 pages a day, that is a part of taking back your mind, part of slowing down your mind to be submerged in a book, and it is a skill. It is a craftsmanship reading.
Yeah. Well, for reading, one of the things I've kind of learned to better or to get more out of the reading is to really reflect on what you read, to think about what you read. So you can do that per page, chapter, whatever you want. So always set time to really reflect on it. And I would sometimes write certain notes of things that me. And so that's, as opposed to just reading on through it and then you're done. I think that reflection time is really important on what you read. So that's kind of how I like to read in the morning when I make my tea. That's the first thing in the morning. I want to get the mind. The mind is fresh. It's awake. I do at night as well, but more often I've been kind of doing it more in the morning, and enjoy that to start my day with meditation.
I love it, man. And I did the same thing this morning. Let's merge into kind of like how to read, how to get back your mind, how to turn off the phone and not be checking it constantly, because I put it on airplane mode and I have all my books downloaded, but I also have books, physical books. I do both. And I have about 10 to 15 books I'm shuffling from. And if I get bored, I just go to the next book and I read like a section or a thought, and I'll get that on how to market. And then I'll get a section on spirituality, and then I'll get a section on comedy, and then I'll get a section on, and I usually like draw a bath or I'll do something. I'll turn off the lights and I'll have it just the phone there, no distractions, keeping the mind zen, keeping the mind clear. And when I'm reading through, I'll highlight passages and then I'll save it on my notes and I'll reflect on it later. And then I'll have time to just be quiet, be still, be in the moment, because then somehow or another, it's like, even if I don't remember what the book was talking about, I get the idea and I get the intention, and the book comes alive to me, and it helps to bring me into a form of someone's most positive thoughts, the most greatest information that someone could put out, the deeper soul of someone who's writing the book. And I'm noticing that people ahead of me, like Novel, Rob Kant, and Tim Ferriss, and Joe Rogan, they're introducing me to old books that are standing the test of time, like The Prophet, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, many religious texts.
It was Joe
just
podcast.
It was Joe podcast.
He turned me on to just a whole slew of different scientists and like Graham Hancock and Tom Campbell, Bruce Lipton. I mean, just brilliant minds that I still to this day, I just am so grateful to have come across. And so it was his podcast that brought on a lot of these other people, Aubrey Marcus, Amber Lyons. I mean, I can just go on. It's just very cool, unique, and different people involved in different types of knowledge and understanding. You know, it's Aubrey Marcus is my favorite CEOs. I say CEO. He runs a company, but also on top of that company, he's very inspirational on how he runs it and the things he sells, his experience and what he talks about. He has his own podcast. So he's in one group. Amber Lyon is into more of the CNN reporter, gone now, drug. She's an
ayahuasca.
Yeah, and ayahuasca and mushrooms, and really kind of getting that knowledge and understanding out there about these drugs that are really been always just deemed just so bad, and so they have far more medicine and healing properties than all of our pharmaceuticals drugs. I mean, but anyway, so you have all these different people that I have been fortunate enough to really connect with through Joe Rogan's podcast. Yeah, he still brings on some of these people, but I haven't listened to his podcast in a while, but he was definitely a springboard to getting with some of these other people.
How much is he changing the world just with his knowledge and his guests and how they're gaining fame and recognition in a speaking forum? Now we have all these great products, these ethical ways of living, this hunting movement, this fighting, becoming your own self, becoming the legalization of different plant medicines. All sorts of people now are springboarding into the mainstream through his channel. I mean, it's just, what is that? What void?
There's a lot of channels. That was my main first channel that I really kind of plugged into to expand into other channels. Really, you have all these other people that have their own channels. If through their channels, there's other ones you start connecting to, and that is really the web that you kind of go out into, and that's why it's really considered also a rabbit's hole. You just start from there; it just gets deeper and deeper. And you just start learning more. So, but that was kind of beginning before
it's almost like,
huh?
It's like virtual mentors. And when I'm feeling a little bit alone, or like when I'm on the road, when I'm heading to a meeting, I plug in one of my podcasts and I get like this deep insight, like I'm hearing Aristotle, like I'm channeling Alexander the Great, or I'm getting Einstein information. It's sort of bridged me from friends that are talking about the Real Housewives of San Diego, or like they're talking about some Dr. Seuss book or some random thing they heard on Fox News. Now it's like, I'm getting put, woohoo, let's do this,
Dr. Seuss.
Right. Hey, you gotta love Seuss. Seuss.
Yeah. Most people, again, they talk about other people. They talk about just all the really just nothing really important, I guess. They talk about the things they like maybe here and there, but they're really involved in with this whole culture and how it was created with, the idols that have come out of it, that just the things that people, it's really easy to see where somebody is. What are they interested in? What do they like to talk about? So unfortunately, again, most people are very still trapped in, the matrix, if we're to call it that, give it that term. So they're not ready yet. It's not their time. And for a while, I'm try to wake my friends, but I'm doing it in a way that comes across as I'm being arrogant. I'm getting on my pedestal, and I'm preaching. And you do this for a while, and you start to. But it takes time. To really create that more just not having a need to do that in any way. And because you're taking in so much information, you want to share it.
Yeah,
right?
you have to purge it out. You have to teach. You have to give it out.
But most people aren't ready to hear it.
Bjorn, I got an answer to that. Write a book. Come on more podcasts. Come and expand with people that are ready to hear it, that are wide open, that are like, I want to hear Bjorn's information. I want to get involved. I want to know how to be the entrepreneur. Because there's maybe 1 out of 1,000 people like that. But when we grew up, there wasn't a lot of people speaking out. There wasn't a lot of people leaders. There weren't people doing. But like the book is out, Gnarly for Namaste. I just had to write it all down, and just go into that space because I was annoying everyone. I mean, in a way, I was just like, I'll just put out little tidbits here and there. But I was talking to people on trains. I was talking to people in the airport. I was throwing little advice here. The other day, we were bowling, and some guy made a comment like, I can never do this. I can never bowl a strike. I was like, the strike's all within. And literally he bowled like 3 strikes after that. I didn't say much. I was just like, that's it. Like, so I know the purge stage is really a transition period. And eventually you'll be at a leadership role where you'll get the ability to go forward and just be grateful that you have all that knowledge and you're being accepted. Because like in ancient times, people who were medicine healers and intuitive people, they were right next to the emperor. They were right next to the hierarchy of social design, and they were blessed. They were the people that wanted to evolve communities. They were able to see the end game of life. They were the chess players. They were the insight makers. They were the creative architects. And I believe that we're architects that will architect a better reality for people and be the change that we want to see in the world. On that note, can you enlighten us on some sort of if you had a billboard to put in, like, let's just say New York City or downtown LA, and you had every month you got to tweak it a little bit if you needed to, but what would a billboard say that you would design?
What would it say?
Yeah,
wow. That type of advertisement, you got to make it pretty simple and powerful. And that's really, that I would have to sit on that one for a while. But anything that really kind of punches through truth, what is true, or kind of in the true direction, to kind of get people to think. But that's, again, I've seen so many billboards that like certain news, question everything they say, here's the real news. So there's people are, to understand people and what they are going to gravitate to kind of open up in that way. You can't really hit them with anything too bold in the truth end. You have to kind of give them like a small little taste of,
or use comedy or music along the way. I got a feeling it's gonna be a right night tonight. Some sort of dumbing it down a little bit, but also not just dumbing it down, but
maybe by put some up that says inward for truth, and below that put all the major enlightened beings, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, just put them all, classify them all within that billboard there, or that statement, because really that's where they they found their truth, or they found their being. And so, yeah, inward for truth. And then the religious part, or the religious beings there, or enlightened souls, can give that type of, people can relate to that, like, oh, I'm Christian, there's Jesus. So it will attract maybe in that way. I don't know, but you don't really see a lot of billboards that really get people to think. It's more they advertise a business and something to consume and purchase. It's not really to wake people up.
Nice. Yeah, I think I would have to go along with that in some way. I would probably say give more, consume less, and Know Thyself. And then I would run that campaign like on YouTube channel commercials. I'd run that campaign on commercials for NFL. I would run commercials in between the Oscars. I would buy billions of dollars of advertisement and have that in central cities like London, Dubai, Sydney, Beijing, and have that worldwide. And then maybe open up a donation channel where they can donate to continue that message, so that we can take back the media, take back positive messages, and therefore the 100 monkey effect will have tenfold exponential times pi effects. And then I would really run it towards actually saving nature, saving our natural resources, and keeping this planet running freshly and fluidly. Yeah, that'd be somewhere I would take that that campaign, and making it a reality is the best thing. Bjorn, what would you if you could go back in time? I'm going to give you the keys to the DeLorean to take it back to your younger days, and you were able to tell yourself, like, give yourself a journal of what to expect and some great insight of knowledge when you were maybe 10 years old, right? When you start, getting into maturity, what would you tell yourself in like a nutshell?
Well, I would love to have started a whole lot earlier in my life, because as a kid, I was always painting, drawing, really the creative entertainer too. I loved singing, dancing. So that whole was there. And then it just kind of left me as I kind of got more in the school system, if you want to say. It really left me going into middle school, into high school, where you start to create this group of friends and your influencers that start to change you in a way. So you become more bound to the system, and it just distracts you more. And so I think that's where I mostly lost it. And then going out of high school, you go into, having to work now, working at a retail store. I just moved down to San Diego. You just get too involved where you just kind of forget your passions and the things that you really enjoyed when you're a kid. And, because you have to become an adult. And it's funny, you're backtracking. When you become an adult, you're trying to go backwards to finding that inner child. And again, it just comes down to this matrix that we're in. It's programmed. It's a program that's literally programmed us from birth, and it takes away our being, just the potential that we have. We are walking gods, and so that's a hard one for people to even like really have a deep understanding of. I mean, I'm just, by no means, I'm not really all the way in as far as just my experience, because I'm still in my studying and researching and really developing still, and I have many years ahead. But to go back in time to awaken that child and say, hey, here's how the matrix works. Just whatever your parents say, your friends, just focus on those passions and making them a reality. And that's what you just get a lot of people in the air. Your parents want, and it doesn't make parents bad by no means, that they want their children to kind of follow certain, ways of work, religion, and just, getting out there on your own. So I get it, but unfortunately, it doesn't bring up this new God that's entered this reality, and just make him completely ignorant to the point where for him to even go back, that's why children are very intuitive. It's just amazing. I'm watching them. Even some of them are able to recall past lives. That's That just gets into reincarnation. That that's where I would go. I would go back there and try to somehow. But again, I'm already in that environment, so to go back to try to convince a younger me, that would be hard. But it'd be great to. And that's why also too, when I bring a child in this world, it's going to make sure that it's yeah, we're in this matrix, because the only way to get out of it is to go on some secluded island, eat off of land, or live off of just that land, and be at peace and not be in this world of distraction and cities and people sleepwalking. So I just can't leave and go on an island. I'm here, and I have to create an environment within this environment to make that growth, and to also bring in another human into this world, and make sure that they're able to know their being as they grow up. And that's the most important thing, is to pass that on, to actually, because you don't really see it. There's no real schools. The public school system, even the private school systems, don't really develop children for their own personal needs. Now, keep in mind, there are schools out there that I've heard of, and are more focused on that. I don't know too much about them, but they are out there, and so that's what I hope to. Maybe that's how instead of going back to my own personal childhood, I can actually bring it into my child. It's the same thing. You can look at it the same way. Absolutely. So it is possible to go back in time.
No, you bring up a lot of things when you said that that informative answer, and like you said, with going back to yourself, giving yourself more confidence, giving yourself maybe a diet plan, maybe some sort of eating more organic foods and less cereals and sugar and candy. I get that is part of our growing up. That's part of our happiness too. And we had to go through struggles to become who we are. But yeah, just going back and telling yourself it's going to be all right. You're perfect anyways. Just don't trust all the adults all the time. Don't trust all your teachers. Don't believe what they say when they're telling you you're a disruption or whatnot. And keep on following your dreams. Write down in a journal every day what you want to accomplish. You don't have to know it all. You don't need to choose a career path right now. And you are loved, and you are powerful, and you are able to affect your life by your thoughts. And I would explain how karma works, and I would explain to give more, and I would explain to love more, and then it was okay to love, and it was okay to love yourself, and all those areas to expand as a person. But we all had to go through our moments of flying around. What am I gonna do? And going through our mistakes, and going through our different friends and relatives, and meeting all these different great teachers in our life, and that's important too. You mentioned an island. Okay, so you got an island, right? That's Bjorn's island. Now, it's about square 20 by 20. How would you create this island to be an ultimate destination? So you get 3 months to live there, and people can visit. You can create a Richard Branson style Necker Island place, which I've been to, which is amazing. And how would you design this? And what kind of things would you have on this island, and what type of people you would bring? How would you set that up?
Well, it would be an island that is where we can really live off that island, all its resources for food, mostly water, depending on what we have access to. So, and then building a school or a type of I don't know what the word you can give it, but and really it's a destination where people can expand their consciousness, learn certain subjects, and have people that are thinkers, explorers, innovators, just create an environment that way, and around that environment add some fun to it. And that fun is, whether we're building something physically, we're diving into the ocean and exploring, we're flying here, we're I mean, this is out going outside the island, but the island itself is that launch pad and that sanctuary that is peaceful, that raises our vibration, that gets us more in touch with our being and creates some more understanding. So, I mean, that's kind of how I see my island. That's what I try to build here is my sanctuary within this environment, because it's your only escape, or at least it's my only escape. It's I step outside, and there's a lot of great places to escape to. The realization center up there in Encinitas, the meditation temple. That's just a beautiful sanctuary. That's where I live at some point, is really across the street from that, to just walk out of my house and just walk across to that beautiful, just nature feeling. It's just peaceful. It's amazing.
Bjorn, you're talking about me 3 years ago in Cardiff by the Sea, when I lived right there, only a quarter mile up the road. And it was amazing. It was a refuge. And I got so much experience walking through the gardens. And my roommate was friends with Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra and a lot of Oprah guests and the Secret guests and a lot of entrepreneurs. And she had an interesting story because she was a marketer. She was a millionaire. She had all this great stuff, all this affluence, all this abundance, and she lost it all. And I was living with her on her downfall and her come up. And it was just so remarkable to see that she had healing going on, and she was, getting on the beach, and she was going to the different seminars and meditating, and she was understanding that was part of her journey too. So it's funny that you mentioned that, but yeah, there's different places of refuge. There's Vipassana meditation places. There's retreats that my friend Tamika Hilder's doing over in Australia, and I got another friend who's running in Sedona. And there's little places that you can find refuges and surf camps and places where you can learn new skills and places that you can shift, growing that. There's picture circles, picture like a target, and you can grow outside that target, and you expand your new self. You get to know your new self. You get to expand yourself, because we are so infinite, and then we just unlock ourselves, unlock different combinations, unlock different parts of ourselves, unlock different wisdom, right? So yeah, that's crucial that you mentioned that. And definitely you can find your little refuge. I got this little bracelet here, and that is to remind me of being in the now, escaping to refuge, where you can understand what your purpose is, and it's supposed to be a reminder of what your purpose is. And it also is to express showing love and kindness and compassion, because that's what this world sometimes is missing. But then again, when you go to India, you travel and you go to the Amazon, when they're untouched and they're just pure beings, without the news, without the cities, without all that, and they're just living amongst nature, they're living on that vibration of love, kindness, and then war too, because they have to survive. But it's also surviving with nature, which is harsh. And so, yeah, that's something we need to realize. Bjorn, how do you get into the state of the morning routine every day? Like, what's your morning routine individually for your success?
I make my tea, which involves a green tea, detox tea, a lemon and apple cider vinegar. So I'm completely stimulating my entire body. I always recommend that to anybody. If you're gonna do anything health wise or anything to benefit that you can, that would be the main vitamin to do, because it just does so many great things as far as hydrating you, stimulating your metabolism. It's just, the benefits are huge. So I do that right away. Then I get into while I'm having my tea, I'll read, journal, and just kind of reflect and observe and just kind of get the mind right. And then after that, I go into a meditation. And I sometimes switch up doing meditating first and then do the tea and reading. So I do switch that up here and there, because I don't want to have too much stimulants as far as caffeine when I go into a meditative type of state. So, and then after that, I make my bulletproof coffee, which is the French press, ghee butter, and coconut oil. And I use that to do some fasting, because that really holds me over for a good period of the day where that's my breakfast. And so part of my spiritual development is just eating cleaner, doing more fasting. Not when I say fasting, you don't have to do the day fasting where you're really doing the deep fasting, but you can do fasting, what you call it, intermediate fasting, I guess, or something like that, where it's not you're getting the benefits of it, because really what you're doing is when you eat very clean vegetables and you do some fasting, you're getting more in tune with your vibration, your energy, and you can really take your meditations to a deeper level, your dream state, your ideas, and really feel the chakras just lighting up. So that's kind of where I am now, to kind of get more deep into my meditation practice and really get more insight out of my meditations and sleep. So I have really vivid dreams. So I'm going to be focusing a lot on my dreams and interpreting them and trying to see what I can get from it, because dreams to me is just my soul just living in all these different worlds. Like, it's just, because what I can just tell you from my dreams, the environments are fairly similar. There's just different types of experiences I'm having, but there's that similarity to where it's just myself just going into all these different other worlds that don't feel as physical as this one, but this is a dream as well, because they're all dreams. It's just this one where we come into at a different frequency, and this type of reality is controlled. So those other ones, that's where you feel that separation. You really can experience it without having an attachment to it, or be able to give it any definition. Here, it's just you come in, you're just absorbed, and you start attaching yourself to things and consuming. So, but so that's kind of I do the bulletproof coffee, and then I just begin my workday, and so begin my service. I like to call it. I don't like to say work. I like to say service, because if you're going to work and you're going to be in this money type of economy, and how we exchange our services and live, for me, what I enjoy most is just being able to service people in their business and their ideas and helping them. So if I'm not charging for certain services, I'm trying to give my time to help, and just whether it's consulting or so that's where I feel gratitude is being able to give back, to help people that way. And so that's the way I receive my abundance and my financial abundance, if you want to call it too. So that's what I try to put a focus on is, what needs to be done today? How am I able to help my current clients and help new clients and expand things so that I can take this financial abundance and give back even more. And so,
love it, man. You just explained the monetary system in a nutshell, and conscious capitalism, and also such a growth process. I love it. That's something huge. That's something that we don't really get taught. And what you just described, thinking of work as service, is one of the pinnacle lessons in life. The just what this podcast, what this movement, what this world should understand more. And you just nailed it down on the head. And we really need to understand that in service, we receive blessings, we receive gratitude, we receive enchantment and ethical, moral, just happiness. And we're chasing happiness based on all consumerism and what we can get that's going to act like happiness. but it's not going to be fulfilling ever. That's why I see a lot of in Hollywood these empty souls, these people that are off with a quick buck. You can see that their companies aren't serving. All the great startups, all the great phones, all the great pieces of art were designed by people who are serving of servitude, of just creating music or making people laugh or making people more money or giving people better sexual drives or getting people better relationships. I mean, these are servitudes, and I'm down with that. I'm in the stage where needing to monetize more for my services. I'm just giving. That's fine. But I'm building right now as well, and giving in other ways in my regular career. And so how can someone monetize what they love for their passion-filled careers? Because you're obviously in something you love, and Charles and Brandon, a lot of our friends in that neighborhood of wellness. Now, how can somebody who's just kind of starting off, how can you help them, guide them in the right direction?
Starting off on finding their passion, what they want to do.
Yeah, but just servitude for their passion and how to monetize that.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I've actually been trying to put together is a more like a certain package, and this is a separate business idea that I'm putting together. I won't get too much into it, but it's really geared towards people, instead of joining the workforce, they can join the entrepreneur workforce. They can take something that they really enjoy doing, and it could be something all the way down to I love knitting. I love to write. I love to make music, and so it's to create something within that you can that you can make money at, and you can make money in practically anything. If you want to write, there's so many writing opportunities, and you can write books, you can write ebooks, you can, if you want to make music, you can teach music. If you want to, so that every industry people they can make money off of, and that's where I want to put more help into in this other idea, because right now it's really, I work with people that have a business or already have this, ideas and things, but there's also a market out there where people just they need more guidance in that direction, because right now a lot of, especially in the spiritual market, I mean, people are capitalizing on that. It's more of a surface level understanding. That's where they make the most money, because again, those people, those influencers, they aren't really giving people, they're making change and they're doing well, but it's still a very surface level, and that's where you can only make that kind of money. But that's the spiritual end. To really help somebody get within their passion, first they got to figure that out. They got to know what they want to do, and then from there they have to either get somebody to help them, which I'm trying to put together, or they have to really start doing their own research, start looking online, reading books on how do I make this a business, how do I make this create a living for me. Because again, it comes down to me either going to live on an island, or I'm going to have to make this work with money and live in this environment. And so so that's kind of where we are. And so yeah, I mean, you have to Einstein said it perfectly. I don't hold any special talents. I am only passionately curious. Passionately curious, I think, is a very strong statement there in itself. What are you passionately curious about? What if you can just watch, learn, and just be completely involved in on a daily basis? Just what is that? It could be really anything. And so I just like that when he said it that way, passionately curious. What are you passionately curious about? Are you passionately curious about the planets and stars? Maybe you're going to be an astronomer. I don't know. So you have to pick that. And, for me, it was design, it was marketing, but the spiritual path, I think as it came in, me able to use a lot of that knowledge that I have and that online stuff to be able to build on the spiritual end of it. And so the spiritual end of it is something that's going to take time to evolve. I already have a blog up, which is godknowledgelove.com. So that's where I'm starting to kind of get a feel of how I want to really grow that part of myself online. And it's still very baby there. That's nothing. I have to put a lot of focus into the other business because fortunately the spiritual path is not going to generate a lot of that financial abundance. It's going to take time to kind of expand over time. And unfortunately, a lot of these great people that are doing great work out there, whether they're writing books, research, out there exploring, they're not really receiving a lot of finance, and so they're taking their time, taking their money to really follow their passion and try to share the information that they're discovering. So I definitely admire them and applaud them for all their hard work. But for me, I'm here. I'm in the matrix. And my service is to help people grow their passions, I guess. And that's really what I love about my job.
Damn, that is just on point and too true, and hits home to a lot of the entrepreneurs. And if you guys see this going on right here, it's not because something happened, but it did happen. I had a coffee explosion, and chocolate just mixed with coffee just went over my shirt. So I'll have to
clean that. That was awesome.
I think it was just so explosive what you were talking about. The coffee just like, luckily it wasn't hot. You nailed it. And I see people online and I meet people all the time that somehow have luck mixed with service, mixed with their whole life just being super clear on what they're doing. And then having that balance to be like, no, I'm gonna balance my checkbook. I'm gonna do what I need to do in the surface level world. And then being so really confident and being able to, like really hold on to their vision. And I don't believe in goals anymore. I just believe in intentions. I want to serve. I know what I serve. I ask, who can I help out? And I get a lot of answers back now that I've been eating clean, meditating, doing martial arts, doing all sorts of surfing, skating, snowboarding, reading. And as you get to that point, you're like in touch. You're plugged into the universe. You're plugged into the nature. I do walks every day to kind of, I bring up an intention. At the end of the walk, I'll get the answer. There's a lot of really cool stuff. And again, I come to clarity that I need to work with others. It's not a solo game. It's a team game, no matter how you look at it. And it's finding your tribe, finding your community, finding people who inspire you. And just like we're doing right now, I'm in my passion. I'm in this matrix. I'm expanding myself through this right to you guys so you can hear it, so you can live it, so you can dream it. And it's not a pump me up, rah, 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 but it's something I'm destined to do, something maybe you're destined to do. And there is space for many. And there's crowdfunding, there's crowdsources, there's Twitter, there's all sorts of things that you like to do. But being a slave has never resonated with me. Being a worker bee has never resonated. I'm not a bee flying around for honey, but I want to understand and continue to keep an understanding about money, how it works, and I really feel like it's energy that you provide, and you're rewarded with the direct effort and art you put out into this planet. And we're temporary beings, so it's not all about how much and millions and all that other stuff, because at the end of the day, there's limited resources. And if you have all the money and you're not giving back, then you won't get more. So there's this sort of, there's a infinite amount of energy, but it's all shared. So if you know how to share it with your friends and not hoard all the funds and energy and get it and spread it, it will come back in dividends. But we also need to know that we can use investing apps, Wealthfront, we can use stock markets, but a lot of these are tricks. They're funnels by systems that you don't want to work into. So a lot of, if you have an idea, a vision, a creative idea that's going to help many people and solve problems and create solutions and create art and create awesome programming and entertainment, and can use your skills. And if you don't know your skills, just say, what would I do if I had all the money in the world? What would I be doing with my time? And if that still doesn't come up, keep on trying different things, write it down, get to know yourself. But again, like me and you're gonna have to go mastermind and brainstorm on more ways to serve and more ways to create, because I see, let's just say Joe Rogan, Duncan Trussell, those guys, they have a community of comedians, and they all came from rags to riches. And Joe was like, you know, Fear Factor and, you know, all his news shows. And what he did is he reached out and knew that there was great talent, and knew these guys are ready to serve, and knew these guys would be able to evolve with a team. And he was sort of like a CEO of an abundance, and having that network around him, and having that force that can kind of fuel his vision of how he saw the planet and how he saw the changes and all the truth he saw and all the great companies that he wanted to be involved in. And everyone just funneled into his free speech network and his free new podcast arrangement. So that sort of can spark another army of people to do something awesome, new, and original with vlogging and Google Hangouts, like we're doing right now, and free information that people can obtain. But then again, we're monetizing a system that you guys can use, programming that will shift you. If you do this program that we're designing in a few months, secret schools and secret knowledge, we'll just give you just the very bare minimum right here, but we're going to go in depth. We're going to do action steps, accountability steps, and have you guys.
You're creating your own secret society? Is that what I'm hearing here?
Secret schools, but blissful knowledge.
Why is it secret?
I only say secret because it's not taught in schools. It's away from the mainstream. And I want to give you guys a deeper understanding of abundance, a deeper understanding of paradigm shift, and a deeper understanding of servitude, and give you guys ideas to just unravel the mind, teach you how to build your imagination, teach you how to build your body, teach you how to build your spirit, and work in different sections to create habits and to create just the fuel for you guys. Because a lot of us are going to hit the wall. We're going to hit so many walls, and we won't know where to go forward. So we're going to teach you willpower. We're not taught willpower. We're not taught hustle. We're not taught how to get out of jams. We're not taught how to be a gentleman to women. We're not taught how to build fires and hunt. And we're not taught a lot of these things these days. These are the skills that help us thrive later on down the line. So we'll teach you how to get to the best health you ever gotten to. And a lot of this is covered in Gnarly for Namaste, but we're going to go 10 times deeper than that. And, you know, I really want to show you guys that it's not all positive. It's not all positive, this stuff. Okay. I'm just talking in that way. We have to embrace the dark side too. We have to embrace.
That's a very, very, that's probably the hardest for people to grasp. They don't want to face that dark. They would rather just focus on trying to raise this positivity in them and get influenced by this person and join this little group of yogis and people that are just like, oh, one with nature. It's missing so much, and that the dark side is what's controlling everything. You better face it. You better have an understanding of it, how it works, and just let it go into it full head on. And a lot of people want to avoid that. That's why they don't want to know what's going on in the world. Because the news definitely does not share anything really good. And because there really isn't much to share that is good, and anything that is good doesn't really, as far as the media outlets that own it, don't really want to share that part of it. But the important part is the awareness. You have to be aware of what's going on to actually to see that dark side, to see, and if you want to make a change, that's where you would go. But that's the hardest thing for people to face. They don't want to see the dark side of the reality, the dark side of themselves, and go in that deep. Requires too much thinking. People don't want to think. They'd rather just judge. So.
No, I want to expand on that. That is so correct. And I've had my dark side. I've had my evil come through, and I had to fight it and fight people and risk death and I almost died. You know, I literally was on the stretcher, and I was like starting to see the light and everything. So, you know, I saw the light and dark at that moment, and I was just like, I want to live. I want to live. So I came out of that spell. But, you know, you could see how the operations of war and facing violence with violence is necessary at some points, because that creates freedom, and that creates art, and, you know, the necessary evils of, you know, I saw the movie The Cowspiracy. I can give you guys a devil's advocate role. It really shows we got to feed 1 billion people. We got to feed 7 billion people. So, you know, there's going to be some give and take there, and, you know, there's going to be maybe 20% dark and 80% light, or I don't like when it gets out of balance, and but that's how the universe and the world works in balance. So, you know, the world starts having too much pollution, then you get this tidal wave coming over, and it'll just wipe out your whole city. So, I mean, that happened in Japan, that happened in Seattle, that happened with comets hitting this earth. I mean, even embracing death, like a lot of people, they get choked up, and they're, you know, when you mention that they're going to die, they're not going to be, their soul may live on, but there's no understanding of that. They're not really, everyone's avoiding that until it happens. But little do you know is you're dying a little bit every day based on your mindset, based on who you're around, based on your music you listen to, based on the news you're tuning into. And then we're addicted, and keeping addictions that are fucking amazing, and keeping addictions that are fucking astonishing, and keeping all this zest in life. We're like, okay, let's get more of that. Let's get more of that. And you got to be able to tune in. Like, this is a frequency. This is a frequency right here, right between the eyes. Pineal gland is a frequency. Right here is sensing. You got to smell, embrace the aromas, and tasting, really tasting. And that comes back to the point of being in the now, understanding, and not being oblivious. Because I see these super yogis all the time, and I've been there. I can embrace that yogi side of me. They're hugging trees. Oh, love this, love that, love that, love this. And they don't want to speak on anything that's negative ever, 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 ever. They don't want to bring up any social causes. They're celebrities, or they're world leaders, and they don't want to make their fans uprupted and give them a little stirred up sensation, and maybe say that, you know, this is a reality. But Leonardo DiCaprio was like, fuck you people. I made Revenant for a damn reason, and you guys can kiss my fucking ass, every inch of it. And I'm going to tell you about the indigenous people that were exterminated. I'm going to tell you about what the struggles they went through. I'm going to give you guys who's actually keeping our planet in alignment based on the lungs of the earth in the Amazon. So there's a lot of these factors. And yeah, we have super positive friends, loving friends. That's great. But that
comes down to that spiritual market. You know, the Chopras, and they're all totally, I mean, there's a lot of spiritual influencers out there, but it's spiritual such a broad term, because for me, spiritual takes a lot of a more deep inner journey than having to feed off of this constant positive talks and quotes, and having to be in an environment where you need others to feed you that positive feeling. And it's not really a positive feeling you should be focusing on. It's following your own bliss. It's you know, putting time into yourself, thinking, and really developing yourself and creating that understanding. And you really can't get very far with a lot of these people they're at that service level to kind of help. It's just another church in a way. I mean, you're going to go to a church that has its good parts. There's charity, there's that service there, but they're still distracted from the full reality of it all. And so the spirituality part, and I like Abraham Hicks too. That's what a lot of my friends are into. There's just so much missing there. There's no deep knowledge. There's just that, you know, here. she does a great job. She's actually one of the best at the surface level. Huh?
That vortex. Get into the vortex.
Yeah, she's great. But again, it's where her market is those people that are searching for more happiness. They're trying to get a positive outlook on life, to get that basic understanding of energy, who they are, and help with their relationship. It's the same thing. It's not it's the easy way to gain any kind of understanding of yourself. Doesn't require a lot of thinking, a lot of deep thought, reading, study, and observation, reflection, meditation. You don't know anything about science, astrology, the human mind, from its physical to its conscious understanding. You can only understand it all if you study it all. So that's why there's different groups that are created that they call them secret societies, because it's not just for the profane or for any ignorant human to just jump in there and try to give me the meaning. You have to learn and study all these different groups of education to expand your consciousness. And so if you're just waking up and you're listening to a positive little seminar from Abraham Hicks or Tony Robbins to help you get positive or maybe help with your business, it's still, you're feeding off of other people. It's like a dogma, it's a creed, it's somebody else's path that you are using when you just create your own. And so,
Crucial.
Yeah, we need more love. That's where I got God, knowledge, love from, which just kind of encompasses it all, because a lot of people don't really have an understanding of God. That's kind of the most thing that lacks most in the spiritual world, the mainstream world, is the connection to what God is and how to understand God. And you really can't do that unless you really get into philosophy, into science, and a lot of the deep esoteric and occult studies to really understand how God works. And it's through nature too. I mean, nature is really the most easiest source of study to understand God. And so, but that's where people are on their path. And so, and it's even those people on the surface level of the spiritual movement, and you still, it's hard to awake them. And you can't even say they're awake. Somebody, just because they listen to these people, they're trying to create a positive outlook. There's still that bondage to the system, and there's just so much that they don't know, and it just takes that understanding to go down that path.
That's that machine gun knowledge, and that's super fluent, and that's the language. It takes a while to understand the language, just like the laws of nature, and you have to do experimentation. You have to go take that hero's journey, answer the calling, go on a travel mission, start up a company. Once you get into that void, you'll start to understand. Now, when you're understanding someone speaking to you in that positive light, that's great. It's going to motivate you, but you have to do it yourself. You have to take the action. You have to tie your own shoes. You have to talk to the girl of your dreams. You have to push yourself past those boundaries, and you have to train those muscles for boldness. And you hit it on the head. I mean, it really came down to me seeing that a lot of this was superficial. A lot of this was just rah speech. And then at the end,
it's cheerleading. No, it's just a bunch of cheerleading.
It is cheerleading. But it helps to be around that. It's going to influence.
That is the benefit of it. Is like this Evo room thing Charles is really into. They're just groups of people just coming together with love and trying to raise their vibration that way, have a good time doing it with different types of interactions and workshops, things like that. And that's great. That's a better than environment for me than a complete shit show at a bar or loud nightclub. I've already experienced that, and there's nothing. I like with these more environments that aren't as that loud club type of feel, that is more social, because I do enjoy the socialness social part of some of these places. But this type of groups and other things that are kind of coming out in an experimental type of way to kind of get people to come together based around this loving feeling.
Burning Man, baby.
Yeah, Burning Man's another thing too. There's another good example. That Burning Man is more of an individual creativity. People come and express their creative structures and ideas and things that are, express themselves individually. So these are all great things that connect people to that better side, that light side. But unfortunately, again, I keep using that word unfortunately because it stops there. You have to go deeper. You have to do some study.
Flowing.
Yeah, you have to put time into it. So it may be having to cut back on some of your favorite TV shows or other sports distractions and other things that aren't giving you any type of benefit whatsoever, because your brain is a receiver. If it's receiving just that type of information, that's how you're being created. So that's I don't have cable anymore. YouTube has been a great source of everything. So that's all I really need to. And that came out with YouTube Red, would have some cool features, and so I've subscribed to that.
What are some of your favorite YouTube channels that people could tune into?
There's a lot. I've really Mo from the Gnostic Warrior. He's doing a great job, at least in the study and field that I'm in. Then you have Savan Bomar at the Understanding and secretenergy.com. These are guys doing great work. There's just a ton of people. I mean, so that's kind of my cable, if you want to call it. I'm organizing my channels with to certain news resources that I choose, because for me, I still like to get updated on where this matrix is going.
Yeah. You have to go.
I'm not really trying to get this information to share with anybody. I really don't talk to anybody about what's going on with it, because it just they can't even grasp it. They can't even understand it. I mean, one of the things that's been going online is these earthquakes that have just been all over the world in the last 40 hours. Just maybe over exaggerating, but hundreds. I mean, that are just. And then you have these loud, really creepy noises and booms that are just, again, all over the world. And people uploading them to YouTube, it's the same creepy sound. It just sounds like something underneath our planet is just awakening. It is just, it's so creepy. And this can go in a whole nother conversation of what's all these underground bases and testing that goes on, and
yeah.
You don't know what's really down there, and that's a big kept hidden secret. And I've gone down that path of trying to to understand it better. But when you see all these things happen around the world, there's sea life dying on the shore. I mean, you got whales, dolphins, turtles, squid in the thousands just killing themselves, beaching themselves. That is just weird, like prophecy type of things happening, and it's
with your ocean Pacifica, where the weather's just crushing homes.
It's crazy. You even got these walruses, thousands of them, just kind of getting out of the water and migrating on this one island. They're figuring out, how do we get them back out, because they're the walrus thing is actually had to do with the Arctic, what they were living off, it pretty much melted into the sea. So that's raising sea levels, and then you have these squids that washed up, these turtles, these whales and dolphins. I mean, it's almost like every week there's a new wash up of sea life that is just dying. And because we're obviously not, taking care of our oceans in any way, shape, or form, aside from not aside from, but Japan is just obviously a great example of their whole mess over there. But all these things happen around the world. People just can't really, they want to pay attention to it. So I kind of keep more of my updates on the world to myself, just as I'm watching a movie unfold.
Have you noticed ways that people do tune in? Like, I've noticed recently that it takes a documentary. It takes like a powerful YouTube. It usually takes like a book that goes mainstream, like 50 Shades of Grey, exposing women who want dominant men. Things like the Secret, the Neil Strauss's book, The Truth, exposing different things on real conspiracy theories that do come true, that aren't conspiracy theories. It's just a way of giving a name to someone that exposes something awesome, and then it can awaken the planet. But I've noticed these little tools, like especially documentaries. When a great documentary hits the 100 Monkey effect, it really reigns true. I want to steer a little bit off to a different direction and really help the guys out there and the women out there. What's going on with male and female merging? I mean, with we're not really getting married anymore, and it's not really we're not really having that many kids anymore. Is it something that's in society? Is it like, I don't know what's going on, because I see the conversations all over the world, all over podcasts, all over media. There's books about it. There's all sorts of too much pornography, just through the billions of sites that are coming out. And Japan's having a herbivore movement. There's all sorts of people that are just giving up in Korea, downsizing population. And it just seems like, the people that are very low IQ have more kids now, and the people with higher IQs are having less kids. So what's your take on that? I know I want to respect your time, and we'll keep it with some rapid fire questions after this. But what do you think on that?
Well, it's a male dominated world, and literally it is. From the dark side is pretty much dominating that way. Very male. Every secret society is male dominant. It's a male organized matrix. So there again, that creates that real separation where we objectify women. We're not really the women are, that's just how it's been for thousands and thousands of years. And so in every religious text, women are very not brought in as any type of figure in these writings. There's no, you got the goddesses and mythology, but that's mythology. It's not, it's really not bringing the male and feminine together, and because we both have both of them in us. So it's really the man is that spark, the woman is the womb, is the earth, is what comes out of that. Is those two coming together that creates life. It's not just through man and woman, but it's exactly how this entire reality works, is based off of these two poles. And so without them, we can't have this type of experience. And but that separation is where this division and separateness that's really been controlling us since the beginning of time, since the gods have created us.
Do you think male and females have different souls?
When you say different souls, I think the soul is the soul, but the individual soul is not really attached to either or. It sees the oneness. So it's only when they come into this reality that division's there, and that's
And then you have like a person who is homosexual, transgender. I mean, they're merged with body and mind, and you can really talk to someone who's of that character, and you're like, man, you have such a feminine persona, and I'm digging it, blah blah blah. And we're cool like that, and you can understand it. And then you can meet someone totally of the opposite sex that's very masculine, very tough, want to be in your face. And I really do think that we have a magnetic heart, we have a magnetic frequency, so we understand, we try to merge what we don't have, and we subconsciously, and at the end of the day, it's protecting ourselves. We're protectors, providers, in society, but sometimes it's merging to where, you know, people are having the same income, and it becomes this like ego trip. But I understand what you're saying. And then there's this objectifying women and objectifying men, and vice versa on sitcoms. So it's kind of a weird way to navigate it. I think there needs to be a gender course early on in our lives to kind of give us insight of where we lie, maybe a personality test of, you know, should we be doing this type of career, this type of job, this type of nurturing role? Are we meant to have kids? And if we are, let's try to realize that early on and plan accordingly, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you hit some good points. That one we can go on a whole nother topic for. Let me throw some rapid fire questions at you. What was the funniest moment in your life that comes to surface?
Funniest moment?
Yeah.
Probably a lot of them were with you. I mean, you have definitely brought quite a bunch of laughs to our friends. God bless you for that.
Oh, sweet, man. Anyone in particular? I probably don't remember them.
I don't know if you want to remember some of them, but
Yeah.
you know, Chauncey, man, when we go around with Chauncey, that experience, and that is one thing I get from my friends is just so much laughter. It's really important. So we're always laughing about something. We're all so silly in our own ways. It's a never-ending laugh, and so that is something I'm grateful for.
Is serious a disease or a virus? Is being too serious?
Is being too serious a disease or a virus?
Yeah. Coming from the DC area, I can see it full on.
Well, they're more consumed in the matrix, like literally so consumed that it's from one distraction to the next distraction to the next desire to the next, you know, what can I feed myself with? It's so that creates more and more individuality, which can create a more seriousness that looks like they're in a serious kind of mode, but they're just kind of into themselves. So you're not gonna walk by them on the street and get a smile out of them. You know, there are not a lot of people that are happy walking around. You know, they're complaining all the time, and they're always unhappy. They're suffering. So I always bring up that's the suffering. Most people are suffering, and they suffer because they're just so consumed by it that no matter how much positivity sprinkles you kind of throw on it, you're still suffering until you fully awaken within yourself.
They drank the Kool-Aid and let my people go surfing. If you could have $10 million or true love, which one are you choosing?
Well, we know $10 million ain't gonna buy you true love. But I think the love is when you find true love, somebody, a partner, that you connect with. I mean, for me, it's different for when it comes to love, but a deep, for me, it's a deep spiritual connection. So when you find somebody that you connect so deeply on, that feeling, that experience, I mean, the fact that you're even using money as an alternative is just beyond my comprehension. So money, we're in a money system, yes, but it's that money system to me is to use to live obviously in this matrix, to also use to build your inner temple, your outer temple, the home, the family, the service to your community. That's where I see that financial abundance coming in. And when you have somebody that you're connected with on the level spiritual wise, and a partner that supports that growth. I mean, this is for me. This is what this is where I want. This is the type of relationship that I want. So everyone's different. Their experience with love and how they describe it, but it's definitely the best. That's probably the coolest part of the human experience, is that feeling of deep love. When you're in that feeling, that it's a pure blissful feeling, and it's when you are in that state, you just want to share it with everybody, and it's just it's a great feeling. So love is what circles it all. So
Yeah.
it's not just for my partner, but it's also a universal for friends, family, people you don't know, to give love, to be love.
Right. I love that, man. Great answer. What's your best purchase under $100? 100 buckaroos.
Best purchase under $100. I mean, I'm not looking around. What have I purchased under $100? I think anything that helps my growth, whether it's something, a book or some kind of something technology wise. I mean, the best thing under $100. I can't really think off the top of my head.
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah, I'm like looking around my phone.
Next time. I would just say a course I went through for education, or a book.
So creating your environment, a lot of my money goes to my environment. So I have a lot of water filtration systems in here for my shower, my drinking water. I mean, we're just surrounded by toxins. You have to. So I really put a lot of my. It's not a lot of money, but making sure that I have clean air, I have an environment that's calm and peaceful, that has clean water that I can drink, that I can shower in. And so those to me are great investments under $100.
Perfect, man. You got to keep your body detoxed by Suzanne Summers, and I wrote about it in my book. You never know what kind of lead poisoning, or just like in Michigan, what's happening right now, or the air that's coming in.
That's awful what's going on in Michigan. That's a whole nother topic, but
yeah.
But there's just a lot of things. We got the gas leak in LA, and Monsanto pouring, getting sued by the San Diego County here. This was actually a year ago, I think but the Bay here, they just dumped a bunch of their crap. And
yeah, right on your home turf. That's bullshit.
The city I don't know what the update is on that, but we're constantly just bombarded with just things are killing us. So I do my best, just whatever I have access to, really,
nice.
to keep my health.
What's your plan for the next 10 years? Do you believe that you'll be using artificial intelligence, or do you believe that you'll be in some sort of simulation?
In 10 years, wow. I mean, we already are in a simulation. 10 years from now, it would be great to hit some kind of, I don't know, enlightenment period, Renaissance period. I don't know. That would be kind of cool. The way it's looking now, we're going to go through some serious struggles and unfortunate darkness. But for me to try to predict the next, I mean, we're just advancing technology-wise more and more. I think that major changes would be more 40 to 50,000 years, where artificial intelligence might take more form. I think it's too safe. I mean, we have a lot of different things happening now as far as artificial intelligence, but I won't see it really making a huge impact where the human almost might be won't be useful anymore. I mean, you have robots now that can really take on this workforce. And anyways, 10 years is far little. We're I think more in these next 10 years, we'll see more of our collapse and how we get out of that. Whereas what I think we'll be going through first.
Awesome. I got 2 more questions for you, man. I know you got it, and we're going to respect your time. This one is based on Kevin Kelly's Wired magazine article that just went wildfire. Now, how would someone, I know you're a marketing guru, how would someone get their true 1,000 fans and pinpoint that, and then how to maybe keep them in the stream, because we got so many things going on, we're so distracted, through the mind, and how would we just go Shazam, 1,000 fans, and then kind of use that as a platform to be creative under, to serve, and then eventually monetize, so that we can live this abundant, free, like blissful rocket ship that we're flying on.
So you're asking about growing a community.
Yeah, like 1,000 true fans that are really, they're your people.
It's going to take some legwork. You're going to have to go out there and find them. You got to find other channels that you can kind of piggyback off of to find those people, that crowd, that market. And so this is where following certain Facebook pages or websites and blogs and forums, and you have to get active to find them. I like the Savan Bomber's website, thesecretenergy.com, which is just really a fantastic source for like minds, at least on my path. And so it's things like that I really admire and grateful to have access to. But anybody else is trying to create their own, you have to get out there and start, interacting with these other channels. And that way you can start to bring people from those channels to your channel. And that's really how you can't just create something and expect people to come. You have to go out there and do that legwork. And that's what's involved.
YouTube videos, podcasts, books, going out there, discovering something, going out there.
Getting involved, yeah. There's so many different avenues to get involved in, not just online, offline, locally. So yeah, you got to create action. If you're just sitting around with these ideas, and I've been a victim of it too, not putting any of this stuff into actual. You can try to manifest it in your dreams, in your thinking about it, but you have to give it action. That's where a lot of people have failed.
Let's discuss action on the last key point. The just do it, the knowing thyself, and being bold, the next move. We all seen, creative minds such as Google and Apple and Zuckerberg and Jobs and Tesla and Einstein and Michael Jordan and all those guys. Again, coming to mastery and getting your 10,000 hours and starting early and being obsessive of something. Just like Conor McGregor, and just like all the champions we see around the world, the real superheroes of life, and the superheroes of like Mother Teresa, who are superheroes at giving, and Mahatma Gandhi, or superheroes of being the change in the world. Now, more in depth, the just doing it. I really get mine from Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, and understanding the Greek philosophy.
I have that.
Yeah, I'm rereading it like almost daily and understanding that there's a dragon within, and there's a system and educational paradigm shift that's just holding you back. But that just do it, that swish sign is, I really love the CEO, off the top of my head, I don't remember his name, but he has revolutionized sneakers. I believe that, not having a short memory is such an important characteristic to have in your own designing of yourself and in coming into your own powers of life. And you are more powerful than you ever thought you were. But yeah, like the just do it and screw it, let's do it, like Richard Branson says. And really, let's like honing in on skills and getting with allied mastermind groups and mentors, and kind of following and modeling and developing tactics of the mind to get over it. Like, I'm going to just do 10 more sit-ups, 10 more. That's all I got. And like, and just saying, all right, 5 more after that. And kind of just pushing yourself and doing one thing that you're scared of every single day. And you'll eventually become this hardened version, like taking cold showers, just doing something small. And then just there's reward in boldness. Can you speak more on that? Because I know you've taken a lot of risks. Calculate.
Well, anyone that's just jump ship from a job to start their own business without any savings really is taking a huge risk. And I was kind of forced to learn and struggle a lot to try to get something built that can produce a lot of financial abundance. So it does take action, though. And in the beginning, for myself, I didn't really take a lot of action. And that's kind of why I started. It was a slower process, but you have to really take more initiative to if you want these things to really manifest, to put in that mastery type of hour, system, because, the Zuckerbergs and everybody else, they put in time. They were the guys that were partying in their dorms. They were just totally passionately curious and involved with their idea, to where they were just going to, drink Red Bulls and stay up all night just to make it happen. The guy from Napster, same thing. I mean, one of the main things is he just stayed up all night with Red Bull. He lived off of Red Bulls so that he can create this thing. So not to say that people should be pounding a bunch of energy drinks, staying up all night to create their passions and dreams, but you definitely have to put in that time. And there's tons of things you can easily probably cut out that are already taking up enough of your time to put more action into some of these things. Because a lot of people can't start off right away. They have to create this money to live off of and start some of these things on the side. For me, it was different. I didn't really make that transition. I just jumped ship, and it was a struggle. And so, so you have to give it that. If someone's really truly passionate about something and is interested in something, by default they should be putting in that time. So it's really the part of finding what you're really passionate about, because from there it can, you're not even looking at it as, oh, I'm putting in time towards this. You're just every time you get, you want to put time into it. So
figure out your dharma, know thyself. And again, like Terrence McKenna said it best. He's like, when he thought he was gonna like jump and do something great, and he was gonna jump off of his parachute right out of the plane, the wind's in his face, and he's thinking that his parachute's not gonna go out, but it goes out every time. And then when he's thinking he's gonna jump into a bed of nails, it's actually the freshest cotton and Tempur-Pedic mattress of all time. But that jumping stage gets all of us, and you do have to be calculated about where you jump and do your research. But we get paralysis by analysis, and we just really got to take those risks and understand that failure is like the greatest lesson. I can understand. I lived through depression because I didn't take action, and I just went on my computer typing away every single thing. What do I do with my life? What am I gonna do? And it drained me so much that I couldn't function, and I was running this program and always thinking, and then all I did was take a little bit of action. It took me 3 minutes to book a ticket to Australia. It changed my life, no other. It was just like, finally I got my wings back, finally I got my spirit back, finally I was not distracted by what could happen. But it's like if you really have like an intention to do well and to do something good, there's this void, there's this like hand that comes and holds you, there's this motherly energy that allows you to be with the people that are going to help you out. You never know. I got off the plane. I was heading to a place to stay. I ended up joining a company where it solved an adrenal fatigue issue that I took the product, and it gave me my energy back. Then I met my girlfriend, and my girlfriend taught me all about this world, and I ended up going to India and traveling to the Himalayas and meeting another person along that pathway, and then filming documentaries, and it just still unravels. But a lot of us are just saying, no, I can't do it. I just got to go to the job, blah, blah, blah. But this is a whole topic, and we got to continue doing our own, because I'm on new missions. I'm on new products and doing one thing is kind of at a time. One major big thing. You could have some subsidiaries and some little rivers that are going off of our major channel of our sea that we're creating. But that one thing is really key, because we're in a world of distraction. We're in a world of oblivious mental entertainment and mental masturbation. And we really can be overwhelmed with how many choices, right? And I think that, if you focus on the one thing, there's a book about it, and you really can program what your vision is. Start that vision, and the people will come. If you build it, they will come. And man, that's just something amazing. Please give us anything you can plug. Give people the website again. And I hope to have you come on again, man. You're one of my best friends. I love you guys out there in San Diego. And and keep on doing great things, guys. Please tune into Life Spirit Tech online. We're going to continue doing Google Hangouts. Bjorn's going to be on again. We're going to get the whole crew on there and bring everyone up together. But anything to leave the people with?
Follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. And
what's the website again?
Follow your bliss.
Followyourbliss.com.
No. My website is godknowledgelove.com. And that's just kind of more the things I study, more that spiritual end, but the business end, my service end is selfimagemedia.com. That is our web design and marketing services. So those are my two worlds right there, and those are my two poles. Not really poles, but those are my two main passions in life right there. Those are
your funnel for abundance, funnel for information.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Get your notes out. Rewatch this as many times as you can. We'll be continuing to bring forth more knowledge. New schools are starting. We're bringing out new education. We're going to start a whole program, a whole movement with like-minded individuals like yourself so that you can grow. You're not alone. You're not alone. We're here for you. We got your back. Daps up, props up, and catch it online. Watch the YouTube videos. Watch Life Spirit Tech, and tune in to great people. All right? Follow your bliss. Be courageous. All right. Peace out, brother. Take care now.
Everybody. Love you.
All right, brother. Love you too.